Welcome back, friends. So this is our new series that we've started where every week I'm going to be bringing you a really fun, simple holiday project that you can make, hopefully using what you have at home. The goal is to be able to use your stash, your scraps. I'm trying to make things that are super simple to make, fun, adorable, and something that you want to make for this holiday season. Some of it's going to be home decor, some of it's going to be gift related. Today, I am showing you how to make these really cute little gift tags. I mean, you could also use them as ornaments on your tree if you wanted to, but they're gift tags, and what makes them a gift tag is the cute little to and from label that I'm going to show you how to make on your home printer right here. And if you don't have a printer, you could still do this with fabric markers. So we're going to dive in. I'm going to show you how to make these. Today we focused mostly on the reindeer because he's the most complex with all of his cute little pieces. But I think all that added detail just adds so much. So the pattern is available on our website, which is in the description below. So you can easily grab the pattern and then come back with me and let's make these gift tags. Okay, first you're going to either want to print your designs onto the Steam-A-Seam, which you can put right through your printer, or you can trace them on there with a pencil. Either way will work. And then you're going to cut out the sections. Now I have them grouped by color, so I'm just cutting them out in little groups so I can keep all the brown together, the black together, and so on. And you can use whatever colors you want to here. So just cut out the pieces. You don't need to cut directly around the shape at this point. We're going to leave them grouped just like this. Next, you're going to peel off the paper just on the back side. So you should still have the front side that's drawn on and the sticky side. And you're going to just stick that right to your fabric. The great part about this is it's repositionable at this point. You can still move it around if you need to. So we're going to set that aside and we're going to put all of these pieces on the colors that we want to use for our, right now I'm doing the little reindeer. The process is the same for whatever shapes you're doing. And you can pick whatever colors you want. You want to make sure you're putting these on the back side of your fabric so that the sticky side will be on the back when you're all said and done. So I just cut them out. It's rough. Nothing has to be super precise right here. We're just getting all of our pieces onto the back of the fabric that we're going to use. All right, now we're going to gather up all those pieces that you put your Steam-A-Seam onto. We're going to bring it over to our ironing station. And I generally use a hot iron with steam to press this fabric down. Now that will make this permanent on the fabric back that we're using. However, once you peel this other side of paper off, that other side is going to be repositionable still. So it's not completely permanent until you fuse it again when we're all said and done. So just go ahead and fuse all of your pieces on there. The steam helps make it permanent. So give everything a really good press. And then we're going to start cutting everything out. Next, you're going to start cutting out all these pieces along the drawn lines. So you want to make sure your lines are clear that you can see them. I like to use a tiny little snips because these pieces are small. And if it helps when you're placing them, sometimes I use a tweezers. I didn't really need to with this one. It worked fine with my hands, but if you're having any trouble, a tweezers helps immensely. 'Cause I know these pieces are small, but they look so cute when you're done building this little reindeer all together. It doesn't matter what order you cut these out in, but I decided I'm going to cut out the snow and I'm going to just start placing them so I don't lose anything as I'm cutting them out and I've got all these small little pieces laying around. So I'm cutting out this snow and I'm going to start, when I start layering them onto the tag, I start from the bottom and work my way up. So I always start with that base layer because that gives me a better idea of where to place my reindeer. So I'm going to lay the snow down along that bottom edge of the tag. And then we're going to start building. And because the reindeer has the most little pieces and parts, it might be helpful to look at the pattern for this so that you know exactly what pieces to put where. And again, you can decide on all the colors that you want to use, if you want to use solids or prints. I used a variety of different things that I just happen to have on hand. That is the great part about this project, is it's very scrap friendly and you could make his body be printed or solid. I used a fun basic gray fabric, which I absolutely love. But anyway, you can use whatever you want. So I just place the body first and then the antlers. Now remember, The stem seam at this point is still repositionable. So I like the antlers tucked behind the head. So I can peel back that head part and tuck the antlers behind it. And so if you want things like tucked under the snow, everything is repositionable still at this point. Once you press it with your iron when we're all done, then it won't be. So that's one of the reasons I love using Steam Seam for projects like this, is it's very user-friendly. If you get this done and decide, I don't like where I put the reindeer, you can move the whole thing. You can peel all the pieces up if you need to, but they will also stay in place as you're working. Continue cutting all the little pieces. And like I mentioned earlier, if it's easier for you with like the hoofs and the eyes, they're really tiny. So I use this really sharp scissors that has a fine point at the end. Bigger scissors aren't super friendly with small pieces. And if it helps with placing, tweezers really are your friend here. So that'll help you get things in the exact spot if you're having any trouble. All right, we're almost done with the reindeer. I've got one little tiny eye left, and there we go. Isn't he just adorable? Now we're going to head back over to the iron and we're going to give him a really good press to make sure all of the pieces stay in place. So just press that with a hot iron. Make sure you use a burst of steam. That's what makes all those little pieces stay on there permanently. That way you don't have to worry about stitching down the eyes or the little tiny pieces if you don't want to. Now I'm adding a piece of fusible fleece to the back. You can use regular batting here. I like the fusible fleece simply because once I fuse it, it stays in place. Otherwise, you could use some sort of basting adhesive or pins to hold it if you're using a regular batting here. I like the little bit of loft that it gives the tag. It also looks neater with the free motion stitching that I'm going to do. Now, don't let the fact that I'm doing free motion scare you. If you don't want to do free motion, just do a straight top stitch around the curves wherever you want to add color and detail. I'm using a black thread because I like the look of the black thread with free motion stitching and I love the contrast that it gives, but you don't have to do that. If you want to use white stitching on the snow and matching thread on the parts of the reindeer that you want to accent with the stitches, you can do that. If you like the look of free motion, but you're not really confident and you don't want to do that just yet, just do black top stitching. It'll still look super cute. Just do whatever you're comfortable with. And if you want to learn free motion, that just takes some practice. And so I recommend just, try it on some scraps first before you really dive in on a project like this. But the best way to get better at something is to just keep doing it over and over again. And these are really fun projects to practice on. I do feel like the fusible fleece adds something, it adds stability to the back. So you could use a stabilizer too if you didn't want to add the thickness, but just having something more than just fabric really helps your free motion stitching look better. Whereas if you try it on just regular fabric, the fabric is not stable, and so your stitches look a little bit sloppier. So I find I get much better results with something on the back of that fabric, whether it's like a fusible fleece or a batting like this, or if you use some sort of fabric stabilizer. It really does make a difference. And the trick is to just go slow, especially if you're just doing top stitching, go around the curves, pivot your needle as you need to, especially when you're going around like the face or the hoofs or any of the other parts that you're doing stitching around. And you can add as much or as little stitching as you want to for these. You could also do this by hand if you would prefer to do it that way. And once you're happy with it, you can be done with the stitching portion. He's so cute. Next, we're gonna make the to and from labels for the back side. Now there's a template in the pattern that you can print directly onto your fabric. Now I'm adding a piece of steam-a-seam. I've cut it down to 8.5 by 11 so it'll fit through my printer, and I'm putting it on the back of my fabric. Now I've already pressed the fabric, and then I'm going to just apply the steam-a-seam, and I'm gonna press the entire thing with steam, because then that bonds to your fabric really nicely. It goes through I have no trouble with it going through my printer, and it prints beautifully. So for my printer, I have to put it in paper side up. You may need to do some research to figure out the best way to use this in your specific printer. I can only speak for the one I have. Now, don't judge my space. It's a mess in this room and I desperately need to clean it. But we're just gonna put that in the tray. It is paper side up. I went and hit print and it comes out looking so good. I absolutely love printing on paper, on fabric. Now for this, I'm going to trim on the inside of the black line. I don't want that black printer line to be visible. It's more for cutting. So I'm cutting just to the inside to make the labels be the size that I want them to be. Now, if you want to make your own labels, you can go into, I have an app called Canva, and I use that all the time for designing things like this. So you can make it say whatever you want. You can do other things, like the possibilities truly are endless. So go ahead and trim that up. And now remember, we've got the steam-a-seam on the other side. So once we peel off that paper backing, we'll stick it to the back of our tag. Now, this is the back tag itself. The front and the back are two separate pieces that we're going to sew together here in just a minute. So I'm going to peel off that paper and then put it on the back tag, and I'm going to fuse that with my iron to make it permanent. Back at the sewing machine. Now I could do a free motion stitch around the outside, but I want it to look neat. So I'm just gonna do a regular top stitch all the way around the four sides. You don't need to, because the steam-a-seam does make it a permanent bond, but I like the look that it gives it, and it kind of matches the front side as well. There you go. Now all the backs are done for all of the tags I'm making. All that's left is to put them together. So I've got this ribbon that I cut. It's about 10 inches long. And so I'm just gonna fold it over and put the two ends of the ribbon together to create a loop. And then, and I'm sorry, I totally cut this off and I didn't mean to, and I didn't realize it, and I am not refilming it. You get the gist. So you can see I put the two ends up at the top and I make sure that they're centered, and I'm just basting them in place right here. So just a little top stitch across the top, and then I put the back and the front right sides together, so the two pretty sides are going together. And now I'm going to sew almost all the way around the outside edge of this. I'm going to pin everything in place to make sure nothing shifts or moves on me while I'm sewing. And you're going to leave about 2 to 2.5 inches open along the bottom to turn it right side out. And I'm using a scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance here. You just want to make sure that you have at least 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, maybe 1/4 at the very most. I don't want to have too much seam because it just gets bulky in there. But just stitching all the way around, make sure when you lay that ribbon on the inside that it's laying nice and flat, so you don't accidentally sew over part of it that you shouldn't sew over. You just want to sew over those two ends. So I'm just going all the way around, and then I'm going to go around this last corner and sew in 1/2 inch to 1 inch or so. You just want to make sure you leave enough of an opening that you can turn it right side out. I will usually have something with kind of a pointy end, not a sharp pointy end, a blunt pointy end, to help pop out all of those little points and corners so that everything lays nice and flat. I have this little bone folder here, but I mean, even the end of a pencil, you just don't want anything that might be sharp and poke through your fabric, because you don't want to put any holes in your pretty little gift tags that you just spent all this time making. So use your fingers, just kind of wiggle it right side out, pop out those corners. Like I mentioned, having something to use definitely helps, and I like to drag something along the edges just to make sure the seams lay nice and flat, and that you get all your corners out as you need to. Once I'm done doing this to all three, I'll bring them over to my ironing board, and I will give them a good press to make sure everything lays down nice and flat, and I tuck in those raw edges along the bottom. You may or may not need to pin that, but when we do the final top stitch, we'll make sure that that part gets stitched closed. Once you've pressed everything and you have that raw edge tucked onto the inside, and it should hold once you press it, then you're just gonna do a simple top stitch all the way around the outside edge. I just start on the bottom to make sure that I get those raw edges closed up and there's nothing open and nothing sticking out weird. And then top stitch all the way around and you're done. Then make sure you just trim off any loose threads, and that's all there is to it. I decided I wanted to add a cute little button at the top of each of these just for something fun. You don't have to, you can certainly leave that off if you would rather. I did get these buttons from Joann's, which I know no longer exists, but I would check on Amazon, maybe Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure where else to find cute little buttons like this because they were always my go-to. Michael's, maybe. I really honestly don't know. But I'm going to use my sewing machine, and I've got a little trick I'm going to show you here for sewing on buttons. So I've got a button foot that came with my sewing machine, and I've got a setting and everything. So I put the button in place where I want it, and then I use Scotch tape to hold the button in place. That way it doesn't move or shift on you. And then what I do is you want to put the needle down with the hand wheel, put it down into the first buttonhole, and then just kind of walk it over with your hand to make sure you've got that distance set properly. Because if you hit the button and you miss the hole, chances are you're going to split or crack your button in half. So you want to make sure you've got your distance set properly before you actually let the machine do the stitching. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's tutorial. I had so much fun showing you how to make this cute little guy and all of his fun little detail. We've also got the snowman, which you should see in your pattern, as well as the little simple Christmas house. You could make a whole village, the to and from tags on the back. I've also shown you how to add the buttons using your sewing machine if you want. You can also sew them by hand. You can do whatever you want. This is your project. So be sure if you haven't already, you hit that subscribe button and that you're following along, because every week between now and December 19th, I'm going to be bringing you a new pattern. So be sure you're subscribed so you can tune in, catch the tutorial, and make something really fun with us.